Welcome to MSL Stories. Friends, if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel. I have a dream of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Let's start the story. The evening sun cast long shadows across the hardwood floors of my downtown apartment, painting the space with hues of orange and gold. I had just returned from presenting my latest graphic design project at Pinnacle Creative, feeling a surge of pride. The project had not only been a personal achievement, but had also earned our team a prestigious industry accolade. As I placed my laptop bag down and kicked off my shoes, the apartment felt unusually still, a silence that was starting to unsettle me. I decided to unwind by checking my emails before relaxing with a glass of red wine. As I scrolled through my inbox, a notification from an unfamiliar email address caught my attention. Curious, I opened it, expecting perhaps another spam message or an unsolicited offer. Instead, I found a series of photos unmistakably showing my husband, Ryan Mitchell, sharing intimate moments with another woman at various spots around the city. My pulse quickened as I examined the images, each one more damning than the last. Ryan had always been charismatic and supportive, the ideal partner on the surface. We had met during our junior year at State University, our ambitions aligning as we both navigated the competitive landscape of advertising. Now, those same traits felt like a mask, concealing a side of him I had never truly known. Ryan worked as a project manager at Pinnacle Creative, the same firm where I thrived as a graphic designer. His charm had not only made him a favorite among our colleagues, but also a beloved figure in our social circles. To outsiders, our marriage appeared flawless. Two successful professionals with a beautiful home and a seemingly unbreakable bond. But tonight, that illusion had crumbled. Sitting on the edge of our modern sofa, I felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, betrayal, and disbelief. How long had Ryan been living this double life? And why hadn't I noticed the signs? My mind raced, trying to recall moments that now seemed overshadowed by his deceit. As I grappled with my emotions, my phone buzzed with a message from Ashley Parker, my younger sister. Ashley, at 24, had always been the apple of our parents' eyes, their pride and joy. Unlike me, she had never felt the need to work, study, or pursue any long-term goals. Instead, she spent her days immersed in social activities, binge-watching viral videos, and enjoying the company of her boyfriend, Tyler Evans, who shared her carefree lifestyle. Our parents showered her with attention and gifts, often neglecting my achievements and sacrifices to keep her happy. Ashley's lack of ambition had been a constant source of frustration for me. While I balanced a demanding career and a meaningful relationship with my boyfriend, Mark Davis, a software developer who was my steadfast supporter, Ashley seemed content with stagnation. Her disinterest in work or education stood in stark contrast to my dedication. Yet our parents dismissed my concerns, believing that Ashley deserved every advantage because of her perpetual charm and social ease. The revelation of Ryan's infidelity was the final blow. I had always felt overshadowed by Ashley, whose every success seemed effortless, while my own accomplishments were met with indifference. Tonight, as I sat alone in the silence of our home, the depth of my loneliness and resentment became undeniable. Determined to confront the reality, I decided to investigate Ryan's online activities the next day. The evidence I had found was just the beginning, and I needed to understand the full extent of his deception. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the last of its light through the windows, I made a silent vow. I would uncover the truth, no matter how painful it might be. The room felt colder as night fully settled in, mirroring the chill that had taken root in my heart. I glanced around our home, once a sanctuary filled with love and laughter, now a stark reminder of the facade I had lived behind. The tension between my professional success and personal dissatisfaction had always been present, but now it surged to the forefront, demanding attention. The following morning greeted me with an unsettling mix of determination and anxiety. The evidence of Ryan's infidelity weighed heavily on my mind, but I knew that confronting him impulsively could lead to chaos I wasn't prepared to handle. Instead, I chose to approach the situation with caution and clarity. After a brisk morning jog through the nearby park, I returned home to my apartment, the space now feeling more like a battleground than a sanctuary. The sunlight streaming through the windows did little to lift the oppressive atmosphere that had settled over my thoughts. I needed a plan, one that would allow me to reclaim control without further unraveling my already fragile state. I decided to start by meticulously documenting everything. Every message, every photo, Every moment of deceit needed to be accounted for. My computer became my ally, each keystroke a step towards uncovering the full extent of Ryan's duplicity. As a graphic designer, I was no stranger to attention to detail, and I applied that same precision to this personal investigation. Meanwhile, the tension at home was palpable. Ryan had noticed the shift in my demeanor, the way I moved around the apartment with a newfound rigidity. His attempts at reassurance felt hollow, his smiles strained. It was clear he sensed the impending confrontation, but his actions only deepened my resolve. I couldn't afford to be swayed by his charm anymore. My interactions with my parents grew increasingly strained. They continued to shower Ashley with praise and gifts, seemingly oblivious to the widening gap between us. Their dismissive remarks about my concerns only fueled the fire of resentment within me. It wasn't just about Ryan's betrayal anymore. It was about the years of favoritism that had left me feeling invisible and undervalued. Ashley, on the other hand, remained blissfully unaware, or perhaps deliberately ignorant, of the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. Her days were filled with social gatherings, the latest viral trends, and the company of Tyler, her boyfriend. Tyler was the epitome of their shared carefree lifestyle, always ready with a joke or a lighthearted comment. Their relationship seemed effortless, a stark contrast to the growing complexity of my own life. Mark, my boyfriend, provided a steady source of support. His calm demeanor and pragmatic approach were exactly what I needed during this tumultuous time. As a software developer, he understood the importance of logic and strategy, qualities that complemented my own strengths. Our conversations were a sanctuary, a place where I could express my fears and frustrations without judgment. One evening, as the sun set and cast long shadows across my apartment, I found myself at a crossroads. The evidence I had gathered was irrefutable, yet presenting it to Ryan felt like stepping into a minefield. I needed to ensure that my actions would lead to a clear resolution, not just for me but for everyone involved. I reached out to Mark, explaining the depth of my discovery and my intention to seek a divorce. His reaction was measured, a blend of concern and unwavering support. "You deserve better," he assured me, his eyes reflecting both empathy and determination. "We'll navigate this together." With Mark by my side, I felt a surge of confidence. The next step was to consult with a lawyer, someone who could guide me through the legal intricacies of divorce and ensure that my rights were protected. The appointment was scheduled for later that week, and in the meantime, I focused on organizing my thoughts and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. As the days passed, the tension within the household reached a boiling point. Ryan's attempts to placate me became more frequent, but less sincere. Each interaction was a reminder of the facade we had maintained, a stark contrast to the underlying deceit. Our conversations were now laced with accusations and defensiveness, eroding the remnants of trust that once existed. My parents' behavior continued to exacerbate the situation. Their unwavering support for Ashley left me feeling increasingly isolated. The favoritism was no longer just a sore spot. It was a glaring testament to the imbalance that had defined our family dynamics. I couldn't help but feel that their inability to see beyond Ashley's charms was a reflection of their own insecurities and misplaced priorities. Ashley's obliviousness to my struggles only deepened the chasm between us. Her carefree attitude was infuriating, especially as I watched her contentedly drift through life while I grappled with betrayal and familial neglect. Tyler's presence seemed to amplify this contrast, his lighthearted nature a constant reminder of what I lacked. One particularly tense evening, after a heated argument with Ryan, I found solace in a quiet corner of our apartment, reflecting on the path that had led me here. The weight of my decisions pressed down on me, but beneath that burden was a flicker of hope. This was my chance to break free from the chains of deceit and favoritism, to forge a life that was truly my own. Determined to move forward, I began to take small but significant steps towards reclaiming my life. I reached out to former colleagues and friends, seeking advice and support. Their encouragement reinforced my decision, reminding me that I wasn't alone in this fight. Slowly, I started to rebuild the confidence that Ryan's betrayal had shaken. As the week progressed, the anticipation of the upcoming confrontation grew. I knew that once I presented the evidence to Ryan, there would be no turning back. It was a necessary step, a declaration of my refusal to be a pawn in his web of lies any longer. The thought was both terrifying and liberating, a testament to the strength I hadn't fully realized I possessed. The night before my meeting with the lawyer, I sat down with Mark, sharing my fears and hopes for the future. His unwavering support was a beacon of light in the darkness that had enveloped me. "No matter what happens tomorrow, remember that you're stronger than you think," he reminded me, his hand gently squeezing mine. With those words echoing in my mind, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and emotional turmoil, but I was no longer paralyzed by fear. The rising tensions within my personal life had reached a crescendo, and it was time to orchestrate the next phase of my journey, one that would lead me towards healing, independence, and ultimately, revenge against those who had wronged me. The week leading up to my lawyer's appointment was a whirlwind of emotions and preparations. Every day seemed to blur into the next, each moment punctuated by the ever-present tension between Ryan and me. Our once harmonious home had transformed into a battleground where unspoken accusations and lingering resentments simmered just beneath the surface. One Tuesday evening, I decided it was time to confront Ryan. The evidence was irrefutable, and I couldn't continue living in the shadow of his deceit. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation that awaited. As I entered our bedroom, the air felt thick with anticipation. "Ryan, we need to talk," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. He looked up from his phone, his expression a mix of confusion and concern. "What's going on, Elena? You've been distant lately." I held up my phone, displaying the photos that had shattered my trust. "I found these. Care to explain?" His eyes darted to the screen, and for a moment I saw a flicker of panic. "Elena, I can explain." "No, Ryan," I interrupted firmly. "There's nothing left to explain. I've made up my mind." The room seemed to grow smaller as the weight of my words settled between us. Ryan tried to reach out, but I stepped back, creating a physical and emotional barrier. "I want a divorce," I stated plainly. His face contorted with disbelief. "Divorce? After everything? We can work this out." I shook my head. "There's nothing to work out. I deserve better, and I'm not going to compromise my happiness for your lies." The silence that followed was deafening. Ryan sank back onto the bed, his shoulders slumping in defeat. "Is this really what you want?" "Yes, it is," I replied, my resolve unwavering. "I need to move on." Leaving the room, I felt a strange sense of liberation. The act of speaking those words out loud was the first step towards reclaiming my life. I spent the next few days meticulously organizing my finances, gathering important documents, and consulting with Mark about our next moves. His support was invaluable, providing both practical assistance and emotional strength. When the day of the lawyer's appointment arrived, I felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. Sitting across from attorney Karen Blake, I laid out my situation in detail. She listened attentively, her professional demeanor offering a semblance of calm amidst the chaos of my emotions. "We'll start the divorce process immediately," Karen assured me. "Given the evidence you have, we can ensure that your rights are fully protected and that Ryan is held accountable for his actions." Relief washed over me as the weight of uncertainty began to lift. The legal proceedings would be challenging, but I was no longer paralyzed by fear. With Mark by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next. Returning home, I was met with an unexpected confrontation from my parents. Margaret and Thomas Reynolds had always been supportive in their own way, but their behavior towards me had become increasingly dismissive since Ashley had entered our lives. "Elena, what's all this about?" Margaret demanded, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. I took a deep breath, gathering my composure. "I'm getting a divorce from Ryan. I found out about his infidelity, and I can't stay in this marriage anymore." Their reaction was immediate and harsh. Margaret's face flushed with anger while Thomas looked bewildered. "This is ridiculous," Margaret snapped. "Ryan is a good man. Are you sure this isn't just a phase?" I stood my ground, refusing to be swayed by their misguided attempts to downplay the situation. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I deserve honesty and respect, and Ryan has given me neither." Thomas sighed heavily, his frustration evident. "You're throwing away everything for what? A few pictures?" "It's not just the pictures, Dad," I countered. "It's the lies, the deceit. I can't continue living a life built on falsehoods." Their disappointment was palpable, but I felt a surge of determination. "I need to do what's best for me," I stated firmly, "and that means moving forward without Ryan." As I left the room, the tension between my parents and me seemed insurmountable. Their unwavering support for Ashley only deepened my sense of isolation. Despite my achievements and the love I had for Mark, I felt invisible in the very family that was supposed to be my foundation. Ashley's indifference to my plight was another source of frustration. When I attempted to confide in her about the divorce, She brushed me off with a nonchalant attitude that bordered on dismissive. "Oh, Elena, that's awful, but you know, things like this happen all the time. Don't let it get you down." Her lack of empathy stung, highlighting the stark contrast between our values and priorities. While I was grappling with betrayal and seeking independence, Ashley remained entrenched in her carefree existence, seemingly untouched by the complexities of adult relationships and responsibilities. Mark tried to bridge the gap, offering words of encouragement and practical support. "You're doing the right thing," he reminded me one evening as we sat together on our favorite cafe's outdoor patio. "Ryan doesn't deserve you, and you deserve to be happy." His unwavering belief in me was a balm to my wounded spirit. With Mark's support and the clarity I had gained, I felt more empowered than ever to take control of my destiny. The decision to divorce was no longer just a reaction to Ryan's betrayal. It was a declaration of my own strength and resilience. As the days turned into weeks, the legal proceedings began to take shape. Karen kept me informed every step of the way, ensuring that I was fully aware of my rights and the strategies we would employ to secure a fair settlement. The process was meticulous and often draining, but each victory, no matter how small, reaffirmed my decision to move forward. Meanwhile, Ryan's demeanor continued to shift. No longer able to hide behind his charming facade, he became increasingly erratic and defensive. Our interactions were terse, filled with underlying tension that made every conversation a potential flashpoint. It was clear that the truth had finally caught up with him, and there was no escaping the consequences of his actions. One particularly cold evening, after another heated exchange, I found myself standing alone in our now empty living room. The silence was oppressive, a stark contrast to the emotional storm that had engulfed us in recent weeks. As I gazed around the space that had once been our shared sanctuary, I felt a profound sense of closure. This chapter of my life was ending, and a new one was about to begin. The final straw came when I received an official notification from the university where Ryan had pursued his secret relationship. Unbeknownst to me, he had been involved in a professional scandal, and the timing of the news couldn't have been worse. The revelation provided the perfect catalyst for my planned revenge, ensuring that Ryan's reputation would be irrevocably damaged both personally and professionally. With the divorce finalized and Ryan's fall from grace unfolding, I felt a sense of vindication. The pain of betrayal had been immense, but it had also ignited a fire within me, a determination to rise above the deceit and emerge stronger than ever. The courthouse steps behind me felt like the final barriers of my old life, each step away a deliberate move towards a future I was determined to shape. The crisp autumn air was invigorating, but my mind was already racing ahead, plotting the next phase of my journey. Divorce was just the beginning. Now, I needed to ensure that Ryan Mitchell would face the full consequences of his actions. Back at my apartment, I spread out all the evidence I had meticulously gathered over the past few weeks. Photos, messages, and detailed logs of Ryan's deceit were laid out on the dining table, each piece a testament to his betrayal. But I knew that raw evidence alone wouldn't be enough to dismantle his carefully constructed facade. I needed a strategy, one that would expose him comprehensively and irreversibly. My grandmother's will had secured a substantial inheritance for me, a safety net that I had initially viewed as a mere financial cushion. Now, it was my key to independence and, more importantly, my tool for revenge. According to the will, I was the sole beneficiary, a clause my parents had always overlooked in their favoritism towards Ashley. This inheritance would not only provide financial security, but also empower me to take decisive action against Ryan and my parents. I reached out to Evelyn Brooks, an old family friend and an investigative journalist whose integrity was beyond reproach. Evelyn had always admired my dedication and could be trusted to handle the information responsibly. Over coffee at our favorite cafe, I laid out my plan. "I need your help to expose Ryan," I began, my voice steady despite the gravity of my request. Evelyn listened intently, her sharp eyes never leaving mine. "I can't believe he did this to you, Elena. What exactly are you looking to achieve?" "I want to make sure everyone knows the truth about him," I replied. "Not just his infidelity, but his manipulative behavior that's affected everyone around him." Evelyn nodded thoughtfully. "I can publish a series of articles that compile all the evidence, but you need to ensure everything is airtight to avoid any legal repercussions." With Evelyn on board, I felt a surge of confidence. Next, I reached out to Jordan Hayes, a former colleague who had always respected my work ethic and professionalism. Jordan had access to internal company resources and could provide additional proof of Ryan's misconduct at Pinnacle Creative. During our meeting at a quiet diner, Jordan revealed that Ryan had been involved in several unethical projects, manipulating client data to secure contracts. "I've kept records of his activities," Jordan said, sliding a folder across the table. "This could ruin his career for good." With both Evelyn and Jordan committed to my cause, my plan began to take shape. I also decided to reconnect with Rebecca Langston, my estranged cousin, who had previously distanced herself from our family due to the same favoritism that plagued me. Rebecca had always been observant, and her perspective could provide invaluable insights. The first phase of our plan was to build a comprehensive dossier that highlighted Ryan's personal and professional transgressions. Evelyn meticulously crafted a series of articles that detailed his infidelities, supported by the photos and messages I had provided. Simultaneously, Jordan compiled evidence of Ryan's unethical practices at Pinnacle Creative, ensuring that each claim was backed by concrete proof. As the articles began to circulate, the impact was immediate. Colleagues at work started distancing themselves from Ryan, and whispers of his misconduct spread through the professional community. The media picked up on Evelyn's stories, amplifying the damage to his reputation. Social media became a battleground, with friends and acquaintances sharing the articles and expressing their shock and disappointment. I watched as Ryan's public persona crumbled. Invitations to industry events were rescinded, and his standing within the company plummeted. Pinnacle Creative conducted an internal investigation, leading to his eventual dismissal. The financial repercussions were swift, contracts were voided, and his professional network shrank overnight. But I wasn't done yet. The next step was to expose the family dynamics that had enabled Ryan's behavior. Rebecca provided testimonies about Ryan's manipulative tactics within the family, revealing how he had exploited our parents' favoritism towards Ashley to secure his position and undermine my achievements. During a family gathering, Evelyn arranged for a live interview to be broadcasted, ensuring that the entire family witnessed the fallout in real time. As I shared my story, the weight of years of resentment and betrayal lifted, replaced by a sense of vindication. The truth was out, and there was no turning back. With the inheritance from my grandmother, I wasted no time in securing my financial future. I met with Lucas Bennett, a financial advisor recommended by Evelyn, to discuss the best ways to invest and grow the funds. Lucas was knowledgeable and trustworthy, guiding me through the complexities of investment portfolios and business opportunities. I decided to channel my passion for graphic design into launching my own creative agency, Luminary Designs. This venture would not only provide me with financial independence, but also allow me to create a legacy free from the shadows of Ryan's deceit and my parents' favoritism. Lucas helped me establish the business framework, ensuring that Luminary Designs was built on a solid foundation. The launch of Luminary Designs was a defining moment. The company quickly gained traction, attracting high-profile clients impressed by the quality and creativity of our work. My professional reputation soared, and I found fulfillment in building something entirely my own. The financial stability afforded by the inheritance allowed me to reinvest in the business, expanding our services and hiring talented individuals who shared my vision. As Luminary Designs flourished, so did my personal life. Mark remained a steadfast partner, his unwavering support a constant source of strength. Together, we celebrated each milestone, our bond growing stronger through every challenge we overcame. My parents, witnessing the swift and comprehensive downfall of Ryan, began to grapple with their own actions. Their unwavering support for Ashley had not only favored her, but had also inadvertently fueled the toxic environment that led to my isolation and Ryan's deceit. Regret began to seep into their interactions, but the damage was too profound for immediate reconciliation. Ashley, faced with the undeniable truth of Ryan's manipulations, started to question the choices that had defined her life. Her carefree facade began to crack, revealing glimpses of vulnerability and a desire for change. It was a small victory, knowing that my actions had the potential to inspire her to seek her own path of self-improvement. The final piece of my revenge plan involved ensuring that Ryan couldn't escape the consequences of his actions. With Evelyn's help, we traced the financial benefits Ryan had reaped from his unethical projects. Legal actions were taken not only for his professional misconduct, but also for the emotional distress he had caused me and others. Ryan attempted to salvage his reputation through various means: temporary jobs, superficial apologies, and attempts to charm those around him. But the foundation of trust had been irreparably damaged. Each new attempt to regain favor was met with skepticism and disdain, further isolating him from any semblance of normalcy. The culmination of our efforts was a comprehensive exposé that detailed every facet of Ryan's deceit. It was published in a major national newspaper, ensuring that his actions were known far and wide. The public backlash was severe, leading to legal battles and a complete collapse of his personal and professional life. With Ryan's reputation in ruins and my inheritance secured, Luminary Designs became a symbol of my resilience and determination. The agency not only thrived but also served as a platform to support others who had faced similar betrayals. We launched initiatives aimed at empowering individuals to reclaim their lives, fostering a community built on trust and mutual support. My relationship with Mark deepened, evolving into a partnership grounded in shared values and unwavering support. Together, we envisioned a future where our successes were defined by our integrity and the positive impact we had on those around us. As for my parents, the distance between us remained, but there was a silent acknowledgement of their role in the unraveling of our family dynamics. Their favoritism towards Ashley had set in motion a chain of events that had ultimately led to my empowerment. While reconciliation was not immediate, there was a glimmer of hope that time and reflection would bridge the gap. Sitting in my office at Luminary Designs, I looked out the large windows at the bustling city below. The journey had been arduous, filled with pain and setbacks, but it had also been a testament to my strength and resilience. Every decision, every strategic move had been a step towards reclaiming my life and ensuring that justice was served. The revenge I had sought was not born out of malice, but out of a deep-seated need for truth and fairness. Ryan's deceit had not only broken our marriage, but had also exposed the fractures within our family. By exposing his actions and securing my financial independence, I had transformed my pain into power. As I reflected on the path I had taken, I realized that revenge, in its purest form, had been a catalyst for my personal growth. It had pushed me to uncover the truth, to stand up against injustice, and to build a life that was truly my own. The shadows of betrayal had been dispelled, replaced by the bright light of a future I had forged with my own hands. One evening, as I stood on the balcony of Luminary Designs, watching the city lights flicker against the night sky, Mark joined me, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "You've come so far, Elena. I couldn't be prouder." I turned to him, feeling the weight of the past lift with his words. "We did this together, Mark. I couldn't have asked for a better partner." Our eyes met, and in that moment I knew that the future held endless possibilities. The shadows of betrayal had been dispelled, replaced by the bright light of a new beginning. I was no longer defined by the deceit of others or the favoritism that had once overshadowed my worth. Instead, I stood empowered, ready to embrace the life I had forged with determination and unwavering resolve. The city below buzzed with activity, a reminder that life continued, full of opportunities and challenges. But now, I faced it with confidence, knowing that I had the strength to overcome anything that came my way. The journey was far from over, but I was prepared to navigate it with grace and courage, building a legacy that was entirely my own. Thank you, friends.